I want to take a moment to begin this video and talk about this struggle we're having with this channel. It's really kind of the way that gun channels are interacting with Google and YouTube is affecting us, and it's affecting our ability to be able to produce content. So I want to take a moment and just ask you support us on Patreon, where a lot of the content we can't put here is going, and it supports this ministry. Welcome to a series called The End of Times. We're going through the book of Revelation verse by verse to see what it is we can expect to happen, but more importantly, what we should be doing in the end times. And we've reached that place where heaven and earth have been decreated and they're just void. And the new heaven and the new earth has come, the new Jerusalem, and the description that John gives is very important. And many people just kind of blast past this, so it's important we do not. And we've been looking at the 12 foundations, and each precious stone has deep meaning, and it's important we take the time to talk about each one. So we're on the 6th right now, so we'll pick it up in Revelation 21, starting verse 19. And the foundations of the wall, the city, were adorned with all kinds of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, the fifth sardonyx, and the sixth sardius. So we're going to focus on that sardius stone. Now, I want to take a moment and say that a lot of times the word ruby will be inserted, so depending on which text you have, the New King James Version says ruby here, but it is not. It is sardio is the actual words. It is a sardius stone is what we're talking about here. Now, if you look up sardius stone in the Bible, it's really kind of a challenging thing to figure out, well, why sardius stones? You know, because if we go back early in Revelation when John sees the glory of God, it says this in Revelation 4:3, and he who sits there was like a jasper and a sardius stone in appearance. Now, this is the glory of God. Now, the jasper is an orangish colored stone, and the sardius stone is an orangish colored stone. So they're saying it kind of looks like this, like a jasper, a sardius stone. They're very similar, but they definitely have different meanings. Now, when you see the sardius stone in other places, so let's start by saying the glory of God illuminates this sardius color or this jasper color. But there's a much deeper meaning to this. If we look at Exodus 28:17, this is the moment where God's instructing them to make the high priest has to wear a breastplate that's got all these jewels in it. And if we look at 28:17, and you shall put settings of stones in it, 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be a sardius, a topaz, and an emerald. This shall be the first row. So the sardius stone is the very first stone in the very first row. Now, and it's going to come up very first in another more disturbing moment. But in this breastplate, what's taking place here is this is a breastplate that the high priest has to wear. It's the first stone in the first row. And what this breastplate really represents is there's an anointing upon that high priest. Is the very first thing that high priest has to do. The next time this breastplate comes up is 35, starting verse 4. And Moses spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, take from among you an offering to the Lord. Whoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it as an offering to the Lord. Gold, silver, and bronze, blue and purple, scarlet yarn, fine linen thread, and goat's hair, ram skin, dyed red, badger skin, and acacia wood, oil for the light, and spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. Onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. So here's the call for those stones. And it starts off as an offering. But the next time we see this stone is in Ezekiel 28. And it's a particular verse because what God is talking, it's an interesting study on demonic possessions. But what God is talking about here is he's calling out essentially a prophecy against the king of Tyre. And the king of Tyre was, was just a king, but clearly he was Satan. Like clearly he was talking to Satan here. And he says this to him in 13. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering, the sardius. And there it is. It's the very first one. It's the very first one. So let's just keep going. Topaz and diamond, beryl, onyx and jasper, sapphire, turquoise and emerald with gold, the workmanship of your timbers and pipes, was prepared for you on the day you were created. You were the anointed cherub who covers. So here the Sardius stone is anointing. The very first thing anybody, first thing they can do, whether it be the high priest, you, me, Satan, the very first thing we can do as we start to walk down any sort of path that God has for us is we have to be anointed. It's an anointing. It's a moment in time where you are determined to be this thing and do this thing. And the anointing is a very critical piece, because as we go into heaven, we are anointed in that moment as literal heirs of the throne of God, as little heirs of the kingdom. And we walk into this place prepared for us. It's an anointing. It's an anointing for being in his holy presence. He who sat there was like a jasper and a sardius stone in appearance. The foundations of the wall of the city were adorned with all kinds of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius. It shows that it is an anointing for being in his holy presence. So, hope this video helps. Any thoughts or insight on that, definitely put it below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel with Patreon, that link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.